Everyone, and welcome back to the channel, Coins Reaction Zone, another Scooby-Doo reaction. So last episode was called The Haunted Showboat. It was Josie and the Pussycats and Scooby-Doo. Like, it was rather bloated, didn't really have much going on with it, and just a bit boring for me. So I rated it 1 out of 10, one of the lowest scores I've given an episode. I've given a few ones, not very many. I kind of try to keep it not really there, similar to 9s and 10s until I find something that I absolutely, love with a passion. But this is going to be episode 3 of the series, as we get through the last season of the new Scooby-Doo movies this week. So it's called The Mystery in Persia. It was released on December 22nd, 1973, as episode 3 of season 2 of the new Scooby-Doo movies. It was released as a tie-in to the concurrent Hanna-Barbera series, Jeannie, and shares that series' 4 main characters and voice actors. And that series ran for 16 episodes between September 8th and December 22nd, 1973. And this is also Scooby and the Gang's first adventure outside the territorial US, which is also pretty cool. Their first country. A little bit of funness. Jadal was the first character to be from another world in Scooby-Doo, and also the first time that Scooby-Doo featured real supernatural beings, which is Jeannie and Babu, who are genies. And no other trivia for that, so let's get into the premise and the synopsis. So Scooby and the Gang let Jeannie and Babu help a prince battle the evil spirit that was let out of a bottle, but who did it and why? And let's get right into it. So the Mystery Gang is driving along in the countryside when Shaggy notices how deserted the road is, and of course he's hungry. They then see Corey Anders and Henry Gloss, the friend of Corey Anders, who is the master of Janine, and Janine's also in love with him. That's just how the show works. Then the mystery machine crashes like it always does. Something always happens to it. When they discover them, they help each other out whenever they finally get to where they're going. And it's just a bit of a 20-minute slog. Nothing happened, and just a bunch of different gags. And the actual 20 minutes of the episode, it could have been 43 minutes. Is just insane for this episode. One of the ones that for sure could have been 15 minutes. I know I talk a big game about that, but this one, honestly, nothing happens in the first 20 minutes at all. So after 20 minutes, Babu receives a message from the great Haji for Janine to come to Persia to help Prince Abin, who is a friend of his. So they go to ancient Persia, and they discover that a man and evil genie are plotting against the great Haji and his help. They decide to sleep when they get there because it's a bit late, and that's when Scooby sees a ghost in a closet in his room, and that also chases after Babu and Shaggy. And so then Janine appears and makes the ghost disappear, and Shaggy thinks it's a joke, but Janine says it's a dangerous game being played by some. Hijinks ensue, kind of a bit boring, where they kind of, stuck in doors and hiding behind places, but they're finally reunited, and that's when they're welcomed by Abin's uncle Abdullah, who appears above the pyramid, and he was last seen with the jinn, so, he's obviously the bad guy, pretty much. Abin explains that strange ghostly things have been happening, but if he doesn't stay at the palace for a year, then he can't become sultan. So it's kind of like a legend. The jinn was imprisoned by Abin's ancestor, indicating that someone has released him, and that Abin must basically confront that and last for a year in order to become sultan. All right, and now we're just going to get right into it, where Shaggy, Scooby, and Babu got locked inside a room, and that's when they met Corey and his gang again. So here we go.
That's the realest looking picture I ever saw.
It's going to be a pretty
I can almost feel the breeze.
simple one because it's a bit boring.
Where'd he go? He was at the window. Stay away from it.
But they all kind of got together. Yeah, kind of like a magical building kind of area.
Wow, look at that bottle. It must be 1,000 years old.
And immediately picking up in a freaking timeless classic.
Never find a way to get out of this place.
Wow, and immediately giving it away too. Probably worth millions of dollars if Velma's right.
I sure hope we don't see any ghosts. Ghosts? Where?
You're a djinn, man. It doesn't matter if there's a ghost. It's a bit of an incompetent one, but still.
We're not here.
Oh, and that's Janine, who was captured inside a bottle.
Can't you do anything? I'm not up to spells and incantations yet.
Can't we break it down?
No, Shaggy. Nothing can get through that shield except sound.
How long is he going to keep you there?
10,000 years.
Oh my gosh, 10,000 years is a lot, man. But that's easy peasy. Done.
Oh, Scooby, you saved me.
Oh.
Now
And you
we
got a
find
kiss
our
for
friends,
good luck.
And then
He has a crush
and
on her
Jadal.
for sure.
This palace is so big, Genie. Like, how are you going to find him?
I am able to pick up my master's vibration, especially when
What's the matter?
he is there.
But, like, that's solid rock. Nothing to a genie. What did I tell you? Thanks for rescuing us.
Well, that was
Genie.
easy.
It is Scooby you should thank
Again.
for rescuing me. You really are a hero, Scoop.
Oh.
Matches her
Isn't it a
color
pity? I
tone.
bet it's 1,000 years old. 10,000.
Too late.
So they just picked the bottle, so they're gonna capture him in. And yeah, full on his magic guy, he's just chilling around. Kind of a weird,
Long Genevieve, we
stilted
shall leave,
episode,
but so
to
shall
be
you.
honest.
Where did you get that bottle?
10,000 years of imprisonment, Jadal. Did it teach you nothing?
Only that revenge will be sweet.
There will be no revenge, now or ever.
Give me that bottle.
You could immediately capture him.
And
Corinne Morgan.
Nice little hair whip
Haji would send a messenger who
breaks
did
him
not know your
away.
tricks. You remember Haji, Jadal. master of all genies.
Boom. Done. Easy peasy.
shall pay his debts.
The great Haji owes you nothing, and it is you who shall pay for your evil.
Stop. What is it you want?
It's a bit kind of cringe, to be honest.
Like, wow.
What he's captured. Turned from orange to green.
Praise
Easy
be to
peasy, I
Allah.
guess.
This is over.
Are you sure it's over? I'll bet. If Jadal was in prison for 10,000 years, who released him?
Whoever released him, that made Jadal his slave, right?
The only one
right,
that's
Bella.
not here,
Well, then whoever
Abdullah.
was Jadal's master really caused all the trouble.
Who
Well,
is
that's
master
easy
of me?
peasy. It's pretty
Of
obvious.
course.
Defeated my
Essentially, Aladdin
Because the power and
vibes.
wealth of this sultanate should be mine. Because your father was a fool who believed in ruling by love. I would have ruled as a sultan should rule.
Yeah, that's
with
pretty
force.
obvious, kind of
Genie,
uncle,
he is an enemy.
evil uncle
He is my
kind of
uncle.
thing.
What shall I do with him?
It is not for me to pass judgment upon mortals.
This great Haji you talk about, he must be a very wise man. Why not let him decide?
Really,
you do
just
it?
gonna
Of course.
let a
And since they are birds of a feather,
Jinn god decide? I guess that works. Just capture him too.
The great Haji will
I
have
feel like
some
that's
surprise when he
worse.
uncorks that
Sealing
bottle.
him for 10,000 years.
Not another one.
Kind of
no,
messed
Scooby,
up.
not another one. That's just
Food!
Don't you guys ever learn?
Hey, don't worry about us. We played it smart. You mean this time it's not laundry?
Oh no, not laundry. This time it's soap.
Alright, that's a nice short one of the new Scooby-Doo movie reaction. So very, very boring. I think this is one of the most boring ones, to be honest. It was just the first 20 minutes was nothing. The gags are just so cringe and just ridiculous and annoying. And also this kind of, it's another 50-year-old show of Jeannie, which didn't really do it for me, and it just was very boring. Introduced magic for real in Scooby-Doo, but did it in a super weird way. I just feel like it wasn't really for me. They didn't really have much interesting stuff. Palace, I guess, somewhat interesting, but not really. Didn't really have anything for me that I liked or enjoyed. Yeah, it was just boring. I guess that's the best way to put it. I didn't find anything I liked. Like, there was no cool sets or anything. It's just confusing and boring because there was like 3 different genies, 5 new characters, or 6 technically, but nobody did anything. Nobody contributed. Nobody really did much. It was pretty obvious who the bad guy was. He was the only other guy that wasn't a main character. Just overall, just kind of meh. I think I'm going to give this one a 0 out of 10. I hated it, to be honest. It just was putting me to sleep. The first 30 minutes was so boring. And then the last 12 minutes, nothing really going on, nothing really changing or happening or really bringing out different parts of Scooby-Doo that were interesting. And also back-to-back, 50-year-old groups appearing in the show, being very stilted, not really bringing anything to the table. For 45 minutes, they could fit a lot more into the show, really lowering the average score of the season 2 of new Scooby-Doo movies. But none of these have been hits, where I've had about 5 out of 16 hits on the season 1, but this one just really doesn't do it for me. Very disappointing. 0 might be a bit harsh, but that's just how I feel at the moment. Maybe whenever I do my re-reviews and make my tier list of like favorite episodes per series, that might change, but for now, it's the way I'm feeling at the moment, as I will react to the 4th episode next. So I think that's going to do it for me. Bit kind of harsh, but just how I feel at the moment. Thank you everyone for watching, and have a great day.